Hello EFD squad and welcome back to another Continental club, this time with a star-studded lineup. The Dutch maestro, Patrick van Straten. The sniper on Twitter, it's Georgios. Full name Georgios, he's like Pele, Maradona, Madonna, just christened with one name. And we're going to talk about the hottest topics in European football. Are you boys strapped in? Strapped on, right. We're starting with Thomas Tuchel, who's obviously just left Dortmund, unavoidable. We have to talk about that. Then we're going to progress into has Bale got a future at Real Madrid? We're going to finish somewhere in Monaco with Leonardo Jardim's future. Starting with Tuchel, Georgios, please give us some context.
So basically, today or yesterday, he's finally left Dortmund after like a 9-month power struggle, basically with Watzke. And on Watzke's statement after it was quite harsh, quite cutting on Thomas Tuchel, saying about the result doesn't matter, it's about the fundamentals of the club, and it just didn't really see eye to eye with Thomas Tuchel and his coaching staff. I mean, Tuchel banned their chief scout, Mislintat, who barred him from the training ground and just refused to let him come.
Doesn't sound like a very harmonious setup.
No, it's just ever since they signed Goetze kind of behind his back, and they signed Alexander Isak. Like Tuchel said, he's never seen him play before he even signed him. So, and since then, and then obviously the Monaco, when he was playing before they played Monaco, where the explosive on the bus, Tuchel wanted to, and the players wanted to not play for a while, but Watzke just apparently just quickly ignored and went on with the match.
So internal beefs rather than on the pitch results, which, having only lost 10 of his 64 Bundesliga games, would be pretty hard to make an argument.
And won the cup on the weekend as well.
Ended their 5-year barren spell as well, didn't he? Pato, what is your thoughts on the matter at hand?
I think that everybody whose opinion matters rates Tuchel very highly as a coach, including Dortmund. I mean, they said that.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, they made it quite clear that this wasn't about the way that he coaches. It wasn't about anything that could be seen on the field. It was only about these relationships behind the scene. His arguments with Watzke, the problem is Watzke doesn't really take kindly to the suggestion that he's not doing something for the good of Dortmund, because he's been there for a long time and he's seen the growth of the club from kind of when they were languishing in mid-table. They had a bad time in the mid-2000s, and Schalke were doing very well, obviously their local rivals. He's seen them grow back into a kind of continental power. So it must be frustrating for him when people suggest that he's doing something that is not in the best interest of BVB. And that was kind of how it seemed after the bus incident. It seemed like he pushed them to go ahead with the game, whereas Tuchel, like you said, thought that it probably wasn't best for them. As it was, they ended up losing anyway, because the choices have been kind of given as they had to give up the game and just forfeit it, or they had to go ahead with it. I think that Tuchel won't struggle to find a new job. The problem is that the ideal job for him would probably have been the Arsenal one, and as we know, Arsene Wenger signed a new contract. Barcelona could have been a bit more interesting and gone for Tuchel, but instead they went for Valverde, which isn't a particularly inspired choice, but they obviously feel it's the safe one. So the question is then, what's he going to do for the next couple of years? There were rumours that maybe he'd take a year out, but we were kind of kicking around some in the office. The main rumours are linking him to Leverkusen. Yeah. And their squad is in a bit of a state at the moment. Obviously, Jorge Schmidt,
defensively at least,
left in the middle of the season, and it would be quite a rebuilding job. And of course, the question would remain the entire time, when's he going to leave for a genuinely big club again?
Well, see, that was the thing. I had a little look on Twitter in terms of the fallout, the reaction from Dortmund fans, and he wasn't as universally popular as I assumed.
No.
Because a lot of fans saw Tuchel at Dortmund as him giving himself a platform for a bigger job around Europe, which I was quite surprised about.
I've seen before, apparently they didn't really feel like he was emotionally invested in the club like Jurgen Klopp was, for example. And it's just, he didn't really communicate well with the fans. He kind of omitted Nuri Sahin, who's obviously their fan favourite. He came up for their system, I believe.
He wasn't even in the squad.
Yeah, he wasn't in the final, and they had no midfielders fit.
The thing that comes up again and again is kind of warmth. Like, Klopp was really good at giving everyone that feeling of involvement in the club, both fans and even rotation players. Whereas this season, Blaszczykowski obviously left, who's got a long history with the club. Weidenfeller was benched in favour of Berkey. and he's been there forever. I mean, he's 35 now, but he's been there for a long time. He's been a faithful servant. And part of this is just inevitable kind of squad progression. They need to develop that team. And some guys who he would have liked to have kept, he would have liked to have kept Hummels, he would have liked to have kept Gundogan, but it wasn't his choice for them to go. And so as a result, a lot of the press stories have kind of said that the older players who featured under Klopp are not really pro Tuchel, and the guys who are in favour of him are the newer guys. Aubameyang being the most senior, and a lot of the guys like Ousmane Dembele who've had a chance under him. So as a result, he never really had the allies he needed to get through this sort of power struggle.
I mean, that harsh transition seemingly needed to happen. Obviously, in Klopp's last season, they finished 7th, didn't they? After a disastrous start, he came in his first season. I believe he got 78 points, didn't they?
They certainly got record points in the in the first season for a second place.
So the point you're making, maybe it's not so much what he did, but how he did it. I can't help but think PSG will be licking their lips at this and just bin Unai Emery off. Emery might go back to Sevilla and Thomas Tuchel goes to PSG. But I guess they hired Unai Emery because of his track record in Europe, right? And barring a couple of quarterfinals, I think it's not really happened for Tuchel in Europe either, has it? So, lads, talking of the manager merry-go-round, who do you think is going to come in place for Tuchel? I mean, the likes of Lucien Favre have been touted. Obviously, he managed Germany before with Borussia Mönchengladbach, wasn't it? He did a fine job there. He's doing a fine job at Nice now. So he's a prime candidate. There's the likes of, I mean, Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim, but is he going to want to go into that setup, seeing what's happened to another young, talented German manager in Thomas Tuchel with Watzke? What do you guys think about it, Georgios?
I think Lucien Favre is probably the bookie's favourite at the minute. I mean, obviously, as you said, experience in Germany changed in like 4 or 5 years. Mönchengladbach from like fallen giants basically to a resurgence of the league, qualifying for the Champions League. And at Nice, he's got him into the Champions League for the first time ever, I think, as well. So he's probably the logical choice. Nagelsmann would, I think, be the ideal one for Dortmund. Yeah. But I think Hoffenheim, they're cash rich, and Nagelsmann knows that he will get the Bayern Munich job one day. I
think you're right, aren't you? They'd like Nagelsmann, but they'll probably end up with Favre. The only issue is sorting out this compensation. It looks like it's going to be €5 million or so to get him out of Nice. I think that they will probably see him potentially as a stopgap. The problem with Favre is when he left Gladbach, they had a really bad run. They lost 5 from 5 at the beginning of the season when he eventually left them, and they've always kind of got by on defensive overperformance. They block a lot of shots. They sit very deep. It doesn't really seem terribly Dortmundy. They're built to press. They're built to kind of play run and gun football. So I'm not sure that it's necessarily the obvious fit, but it's obviously the one the board have settled on. And Dortmund are generally very, very good at recruitment, both of managers and of players. So I think we'd assume that they've done their homework and think that he'd be a good match.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Next up on the agenda is Gareth Bale and his future at Real Madrid. It's become quite clear that Isco is going to start the Champions League final, isn't it? He's absolutely thrived in Bale's absence. Bale has only made 26 appearances across all competitions this season due to his recurrent injuries, particularly the calf. I mean, Isco, Pato, has scored 11 goals and he's got 8 assists in 1900 minutes. Is Bale going to be fretting over his future next season?
Look, I mean, players who Florentino Perez spends a lot of money on tend to have a pretty good life at Real Madrid, no matter their form and no matter their fitness. The issue is whether they can afford to keep him on the bench with his wages being so high. The thing is, being Real Madrid, they can. He's really, really good when he's been on the field. He's still contributed to something like 0.6 of a goal per game. That's goals and assists. So he's incredibly productive. And potentially there might be space for both Isco and Bale. If we see Cristiano Ronaldo moving permanently into the centre forward spot, they might think about moving Benzema on. It looks like Morata may well move on. Then Bale will be able to slot in on the wing and Isco will be able to play as well. So there's no reason it couldn't work. At the moment, it just seems that whenever he comes back from injury, I don't know if he's being rushed back or if it's just the nature of his style where he's so athletic, he just seems to suffer these recurrences again and again and again. Calf. It's always been the calf. And it's a pity because when he's in full flight, he's really exciting to watch. if he were to leave, the only real suitor I could see for him would be someone like Man United, who I think would be very interested in taking him. But I don't know how interested.
Because they have no white talent.
Like whether he's on the bench or not, it looks like he's going to win it. He's got a good chance of winning a 3rd Champions League this season, so he might be happy to sit on the bench to take the money.
That'd be crazy, better on the bench. Has he ever had a big knee injury? Because calf injuries are indicative of bad knee injuries, aren't they, a lot of the time, like Vincent Kompany,
I don't think he has. I think it's just, you see, compare him, look at him from when Spurs, the start of his career to now, he's physically evolved so much into like an absolute specimen, where it's just, if you put on so much weight so quickly over time, he's going to have a negative effect somewhat, innit? It's like, well,
I don't know.
Balogun said that Ronaldo's trying to lose a bit of weight and lose some muscle.
That's the evolution of his
play. Like LeBron. LeBron did the same thing, right? When he said that now he was in his 30s, he was going to have to lose a bunch of weight just to stay at anything like the same kind of nimbleness that he had before.
There is a pressure though, isn't there, by the Real Madrid fans to start homegrown talent.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronaldo's been booed at various points throughout the season when the fans have felt that Morata should have played instead, haven't they? But yes, it isn't a bad dilemma to be in. What do you guys think? Should Bale be sold next season to make way for the likes of Asensio and keep Isco in the side? Let us know in the comments below. Next up, a question on Twitter from Ante Vukovic. And as always, guys, if you want to get your questions to us, hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. Handles should appear magically on screen now. And Ante says, how do you think RB Leipzig will do in the Champions League next season? Obviously finished 2nd in the Bundesliga this season. Have some exceptional individuals, the likes of Naby Keita, Forsberg, who's been linked with Arsenal. I'm going to ask you two boys about that in a minute. So I'm going to come to you, Georgios, first on how they would fare in the Champions League.
I think it might suit their, like, the way of their mentality and their way of play, because they'll be in a group of death basically. Top 3 or 4 is pretty much guaranteed. I mean, they can kind of take credit from Leicester as well, because Leicester was had like the same approach, like quite underdog mentality, and they reached quarterfinals. And by beating Sevilla as well, we lauded them. Sevilla. And it's just. And obviously they're trying to capitalise on their Champions League status by attracting, they keep keeping the same policy. They're trying to attack like more 22-year-olds, like a point to prove in like a big league, like Bruma from Galatasaray. Apparently they've scored 11 goals this season. But
that's a double take when I first saw the script. I thought it was Jeffrey Bruma of Chelsea fame, but he must be in his 30s by now.
The thing is, they do have a very good coach. They have a lot of talent. I mean, Hassan Hüttel's very good. And they can press, they can sit deep and defend, they can counter-attack, they can do all the things you want them to do. Naby Keita is legitimately a superstar. It'll be a little bit sad for them because there's already plenty of attention on him. And you'd have thought that if they have a half-decent Champions League showing, that next year so many people will be after him. So you wonder whether they'll be able to keep on hold of him after 2018. I think they need to probably add a slightly higher level of talent. They've got a lot of interesting youngsters with high upside. You know, they might turn into kind of superstars. But what you maybe need is a few more sure things now. So some people who can add that little bit more experience. They've got Sanka, who's quite an experienced player. Obviously played for Salzburg for a very long time. But if they were to say, go and try and get someone like Kelechi Iheanacho, somebody like that, or if they were to really, you know, push the boat out, put a bunch of money out for somebody who might be unwanted at another club. You've heard about rumours that Michy Batshuayi might leave Chelsea or Anthony Martial might leave Man United. If they put the money together and got somebody like that, then I really think that they could kick on to a still higher level. The question will be, where can they improve, and how does Hassan Hüttel incorporate those new signings?
So what do you think about Forsberg, the guy who almost broke De Bruyne's assist record this season in the Bundesliga? I believe he finished on 19 or 20, and I think KDB's record is about 22. Would you take him at Arsenal? How do you think he'd adjust to the Premier League? I mean, they bought him, they plucked him from obscurity, didn't they? He was in the second. He was playing with them in the 2nd division, and he's adapted to life extremely well in the Bundesliga this season. How would you incorporate him into that Arsenal side?
Well,
who would you drop?
This thing we don't know how we're going to line up next season, because I'm not sure whether we're going to continue playing this 3-4-3 that we're doing. And if we are, and let's just say Alexis and Ozil stay, one of Ozil would have to be dropped in order for Forsberg to come in.
I think I broadly agree with you. I mean, the only way that you could try and do it is put Alexis up front and then put Forsberg in the two behind him with Ozil. But I kind of agree with you that when Sanchez was really, really good at the beginning of the season, when he was playing as a centre forward, a lot of other players in the team weren't very good. Ozil, I think, really struggles if he doesn't have a proper centre forward to play off. He needs a guy who he can cross to, who he can play through balls for, who he can kind of use as a backboard, who he can run beyond. And Alexis doesn't do that. Alexis wants to drop deep and pick the ball up, and he's a real ball magnet. I think that that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Arsenal next season would be probably better off looking for someone, seeing if they could get someone like Morata, or if not him, then an inferior version, rather than trying to get another number 10, another
half winger, half 10.
Would he become the Higuain that you should have signed 3 or 4 years ago?
If we don't get him this summer, almost certainly, but we probably should have signed him actually the summer that we were going for Higuain as well. I mean, that was the year he went to Juventus. There was talk that he would have gone for 15 million or 25 million if you wanted him without a buyout clause. And at the time, that seemed like an awful lot of money. Now it seems like next to nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Will Hasenhüttl do well in the Champions League? Last question is from Jack Davis, SCFC, and that comes on Twitter yet again. And he's asked, should Leonardo Jardim leave Monaco to further his career at the end of this season? This very successful season where he's won them their first title since the turn of the century. My gut instinct for this one, lads, is no. I'm not sure if there's anywhere out there that would necessarily equate to a step up at the moment. They're going to need his managerial nous next season, aren't they? Because the vultures are circulating. Bernardo Silva's already gone. Mendy's being linked with Man City, Bakayoko to Chelsea. So I think they'll go to great lengths to keep him there and keep nurturing that young squad. What about you boys?
I just think he might join a dark side. He might go to PSG.
I mean, it's never beyond PSG, is it, to sack a manager like that?
And I think Unai Emery's really walking on thin ice at the minute, and I think PSG will be, especially Nasser Al-Khelaifi, will be very impressed of what he's done with the Monaco side, with the amount of homegrown talent he's brought through and how he's utilising it. Because I think that's what PSG really striving to do with Rabiot and stuff like that. But I don't know, I think he might be tempted to join the dark side and go to PSG. I mean, who knows how much money he can sway a man, but...
BBS?
There's a part of me that thinks maybe he should leave, purely because I don't know if they're going to have a season as good as this year next year.
It's never going to get any better.
Like you said, they've already lost some players. Though they do have plenty of good ones coming through. You know, Jemison's played a lot this season. They've got Almami Toure, who looks like he'll take the place of Sidibe if he leaves, who they rate really, really highly.
Lamar?
Of course, Mbappe's still there. Lamar, will he still be there though? That's the question. But you'd have thought he'll get more money to make some changes this season. However, my personal kind of pet theory for Jardim is that if in a couple of years' time, or even next year, Diego Simeone leaves Atletico Madrid, then they would be a really interesting fit for Jardim. They like to play a defensive style and they like to counter-attack, at least in the Champions League, which is what Jardim does. They're also capable of playing possession football against, you know, inferior sides in domestic football. That's something that that Monaco has certainly done this season. And they need to develop players and acquire stars on a limited budget. That's something that he's capable of doing as well. I think that it would be probably the most logical move for him, Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid, interesting. What do you guys think? As always, let us know in the comments below. So that was this week's Continental Club, guys. Hope you enjoyed it without Joe's pasty legs and Zach's curls. As always, if you've got anything that you want us to answer, get in throughout the week on our various social media platforms. Anything to say, boys? Just a hearty goodbye, or
yeah. See you later, mate.
There you go.